2025 is closer than you think, and Sister Bernadette's prophecy is already in motion. The world as we know it is changing at an alarming rate, and you're about to discover why. In the next few minutes, you'll learn about the eerie predictions that are coming true right now. From climate catastrophes to social upheavals, we'll show you how Sister Bernadette's words are manifesting in our daily lives. Are you prepared for what's coming? You might be surprised to learn that Sister Bernadette's visions went far beyond the famous Lourdes apparitions. While millions of pilgrims flock to the grotto each year, seeking healing and spiritual renewal, few know about the hidden prophecies Bernadette shared with her fellow nuns in the years following her miraculous encounters. These lesser-known predictions, whispered behind convent walls, paint a chilling picture of our future. Bernadette confided in her sisters, describing vivid scenes of a world in turmoil, torn apart by forces beyond human control. But why haven't we heard about these prophecies before? For decades, these predictions were kept under lock and key, guarded by the Church and Bernadette's closest confidants. The reasons for this secrecy are as mysterious as the prophecies themselves. Some say the Church feared mass panic if the true nature of Bernadette's visions were revealed. Others claim that the predictions were too cryptic, too open to misinterpretation to be shared with the world at large. Bernadette's words about future events were far from straightforward. She spoke in riddles and metaphors, describing rivers of fire in the sky and a great shaking of the earth's bones. Her fellow nuns struggled to make sense of these cryptic messages. Were they meant to be taken literally, or were they symbolic warnings of things to come? But here's the truly shocking part. Some of Bernadette's early predictions have already come true. In hushed tones, she spoke of a great war that would engulf the world, years before the outbreak of World War I. She described a sickness that would sweep across the land, leaving no one untouched, eerily reminiscent of the Spanish flu pandemic that followed. These fulfilled prophecies have sent shockwaves through religious and academic communities alike. Scholars are now poring over every scrap of documentation from Bernadette's life, searching for clues about what else she might have foreseen. Could there be warnings about our present day hidden in her cryptic words? The anticipation is building. If Bernadette accurately predicted events decades in advance, what else might she have seen? Are there messages about our current crises, climate change, political upheaval, technological advancements buried in her visions? But the question on everyone's mind is this: what did Sister Bernadette actually predict for 2025? According to recently uncovered documents, Bernadette spoke of a great awakening that would occur in the mid-2020s. She described a time when the veil between worlds would grow thin and many would see with new eyes. Some interpret this as a spiritual revolution, a global shift in consciousness. Others fear it could be a warning of impending disaster, a time when the fabric of reality itself might be torn apart. Whatever the truth, it's clear that Bernadette believed 2025 would be a pivotal year in human history. As we draw closer to this prophesied date, the world watches and waits. Will Bernadette's predictions come to pass? Are we on the brink of a great awakening or hurtling towards an unforeseen catastrophe? But the most shocking part of her prophecy is yet to come. Bernadette's visions extended far beyond. 2025 painting a picture of a world transformed in ways we can scarcely imagine. What other secrets lie hidden in the prophecies of Lourdes, and are we prepared for the truth they might reveal? What if I told you that the wildfires raging across continents and the storms battering our coasts were all foretold by a humble nun over a century ago? Sister Bernadette's visions of skies ablaze and great shakings are eerily familiar to anyone who's turned on the news lately. But here's the kicker. Her predictions for 2025 make our current troubles look like child's play. Believe it or not, Sister Bernadette spoke of a time when the skies would be ablaze and the earth would tremble beneath our feet. Her vivid descriptions of future natural phenomena paint a terrifying picture of a world in chaos. She saw rivers of fire streaming across the heavens, oceans rising up to swallow entire cities, and winds so powerful they could flatten mountains. Now let's take a moment to compare her words to recent extreme weather events and disasters. The parallels are chilling. Wildfires have become more frequent and intense, with the National Interagency Fire Center reporting a significant increase in the number of acres burned in the United States over the past decade. These infernos, raging out of control, bear an uncanny resemblance to Bernadette's vision of skies ablaze. But it's not just the fires. The scientific community has documented a rise in extreme weather events that seems to echo Bernadette's predictions of environmental upheaval. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, has stated that climate change is leading to more severe storms, droughts, and flooding. Sound familiar? It's as if Bernadette had a front-row seat to the very events we're witnessing today. The data on climate change and its accelerating effects is equally alarming. Scientists warn that the environmental crises we face today could lead to catastrophic tipping points. These aren't just minor fluctuations in weather patterns. We're talking about fundamental shifts in our planet's ecosystems. And here's the truly unsettling part. Bernadette's visions align perfectly with these current environmental concerns. She spoke of a time when the earth would cry out in pain, when the balance of nature would be thrown into disarray. Today, we're seeing record-breaking heat waves, melting ice caps, and rising sea levels. Species are going extinct at an unprecedented rate, and entire habitats are disappearing before our eyes. It's as if the planet itself is manifesting the suffering Bernadette foresaw. But what about the future? If Bernadette's predictions have been this accurate so far, what horrors might await us? Experts forecast worsening conditions by 2025, including increased flooding and more intense heat waves. Some scientists even warn of potential runaway climate scenarios where the Earth's systems reach a point of no return. Could these be the catastrophic events Bernadette glimpsed in her visions? The question on everyone's mind is this: could the natural disasters we've seen in recent years be directly linked to Sister Bernadette's visions? The evidence is compelling. The frequency and intensity of these events, their global scale, and their impact on human civilization all seem to align with her prophecies. It's as if we're watching her words come to life in real time, played out on the world stage. But here's something to consider. Bernadette didn't just see destruction. In the midst of these trials, she also spoke of a time of grace, a period when humanity might find renewal through faith and connection with nature. Could this be the silver lining in our storm clouds? Are we on the brink of not just environmental catastrophe, but also spiritual awakening? One thing's for certain: the upheaval in nature that Bernadette foresaw is just the beginning. As we hurtle towards 2025, the world seems to be holding its breath, waiting to see what other predictions might come true. Will we heed the warnings hidden in her visions, or are we destined to face the full force of nature's fury? The clock is ticking, and the signs are all around us. The question is, are we paying attention? While the world braces for environmental catastrophe, another of Bernadette's predictions is quietly unfolding before our eyes. Have you noticed how words have become more dangerous than weapons? The battlefields of tomorrow aren't made of earth and stone, but of hearts and minds, and the war has already begun. Sister Bernadette's prophecies went far beyond natural disasters. She warned of a time when nations would turn against each other, not with guns and bombs, but with words dripping with hatred and division. Sound familiar? Take a look at the news and you'll see her vision coming to life in terrifying detail. The world stage has become a powder keg of tension and mistrust. Major powers are locked in a dance of escalating threats and accusations. But it's not just on the global scale. Within countries, the fabric of society is being torn apart. Bernadette saw a future where neighbor would turn against neighbor, where families would be ripped apart by ideological battles. And isn't that exactly what we're seeing today? Think about the protests that have rocked cities around the world, from Hong Kong to Belarus, from the streets of America to the squares of Europe. People are rising up, demanding justice and change. It's as if Bernadette could see the crowds gathering, hear their chants echoing through time. She spoke of a great uprising, a time when the people would no longer tolerate corruption and oppression. Are we living through the very moments she foresaw? But here's where it gets truly chilling. Bernadette didn't just predict the conflicts. She saw the source of the poison spreading through society. In her visions, she described a world where lies spread faster than truth, where people would be trapped in echo chambers of their own making. Does this remind you of anything? Social media, perhaps? These platforms meant to connect us have instead become breeding grounds for misinformation and hatred. They've amplified our divisions, turning minor disagreements into unbridgeable chasms. Experts warn that this digital fragmentation is tearing apart the very foundations of our societies. It's as if Bernadette could see the screens glowing in the dark, spreading discord with every swipe and click. The consequences of this fragmentation are already severe, but what horrors might await us if this trend continues? Bernadette spoke of a time when words would become weapons, capable of toppling governments and reshaping nations. Are we on the brink of seeing her darkest predictions come true? Will the battles of tomorrow be fought not with bullets, but with tweets and posts? As we hurtle toward 2025, the political landscape is shifting in ways that perfectly align with Bernadette's warnings. The rise of populism, the erosion of trust in institutions, the deepening ideological divides. It's all there, just as she said it would be. But here's the question that should keep you up at night. What shocking political events are still to come? What upheavals and conflicts did Bernadette see in our future? The clock is ticking, and the world seems to be holding its breath. Will we find a way to bridge our divides, or are we destined to fulfill Bernadette's prophecy of a world torn apart? The signs are all around us, hidden in every heated argument, every viral conspiracy theory, every protest sign held high. But brace yourself, because there's an even more sinister aspect to her prophecy that we haven't touched on yet. Bernadette's visions went deeper, revealing a threat that lurks beneath the surface of our fractured society. A danger so insidious it could reshape the very nature of humanity itself. Are you ready to uncover the full extent of her chilling prediction? You might think you know the full extent of Bernadette's prophecies, but you're dead wrong. Recently uncovered writings reveal a chilling truth that will make your blood run cold. What if I told you that everything we've discussed so far is just the tip of the iceberg? Bernadette's most shocking prediction is about to be unveiled, and it involves you more than you could ever imagine. Hidden away for decades, a treasure trove of Sister Bernadette's writings has recently come to light. These long-lost testimonies from her fellow nuns paint a picture so alarming that even skeptics are starting to take notice. Within these pages, Bernadette speaks of a great awakening and a time of trials that would shake the very foundations of our world. But what do these cryptic phrases really mean? The newly discovered writings are far from straightforward. Bernadette's words are shrouded in mystery, filled with symbols and metaphors that have left even the most brilliant minds scratching their heads. She speaks of rivers overflowing and skies ablaze, but are these literal warnings of natural disasters or something far more sinister? Religious scholars and historians have been working around the clock to decipher the hidden meanings in Bernadette's prophecies. Some believe her words point to a massive spiritual transformation, a global shift in consciousness that will forever alter the course of human history. Others see her visions as dire warnings of impending doom, a series of catastrophic events that will bring our civilization to its knees. But here's where it gets really interesting. Many of Bernadette's predictions seem to align eerily well with the crises we're facing today. The environmental disasters she foresaw? Look no further than the raging wildfires and devastating floods making headlines around the world. The social and political upheaval? We're living through it right now, with nations divided and tensions at an all-time high. Could it be that Bernadette's visions were more than just the ramblings of a devout nun? What if she truly had a window into our future, a glimpse of the challenges we'd face in 2025 and beyond? The implications are staggering, and they raise a chilling question. If her predictions have been this accurate so far, what horrors might still await us? As we dig deeper into Bernadette's hidden messages, a disturbing pattern begins to emerge. Her words speak of a convergence of crises, environmental, political, and spiritual, all coming to a head in the year 2025. She describes this time as a crossroads for humanity, a moment when we'll be forced to confront the consequences of our actions and make a choice that will determine the fate of our species. But here's the truly terrifying part. Buried within Bernadette's prophecies is a warning so dire, so earth-shattering, that it's been kept under wraps until now. Is there a hidden message in her words about a global crisis unlike anything we've ever faced before? A threat so massive that it could reshape the very nature of human existence? As we race towards 2025, the clock is ticking. Each passing day brings us closer to the moment of truth, when we'll discover whether Bernadette's most frightening predictions will come to pass. But brace yourself, because there's one more shocking revelation to come. The most controversial part of Bernadette's vision involves a mysterious figure, a key player in the events to come. Who is this enigmatic individual, and what role will they play in our rapidly approaching future? Amidst the chaos and turmoil predicted for 2025, a glimmer of hope emerges. Bernadette's visions speak of a savior, but not the kind you might expect. This isn't about the second coming or a political leader. It's about a child with the power to guide humanity through its darkest hour. Could this chosen one already be among us? Bernadette's prophecies include a startling revelation about a chosen child who will emerge from obscurity possessing extraordinary spiritual power. This isn't just any ordinary child, according to Bernadette. This young individual will have the ability to guide humanity through the tumultuous times ahead. It's a prophecy that has sparked both hope and controversy among those studying Bernadette's visions. But who exactly is this chosen child, and what role will they play in the events of 2025? Interpretations vary widely. Some believe this child will be a spiritual leader, emerging to renew faith and compassion in a world torn apart by crisis. Others speculate that the chosen one could be a political figure, rising to power with a message of unity and hope. The truth is, we simply don't know, and that uncertainty only adds to the intrigue surrounding Bernadette's prediction. This isn't the first time history has seen prophecies of a chosen one destined to lead humanity. In Islamic eschatology, there's the concept of the Mahdi, a figure expected to appear in times of great turmoil to restore justice and righteousness. Christian tradition speaks of the second coming of Christ, heralding a time of renewal and judgment. These historical examples show how deeply ingrained the idea of a prophesied savior is in human culture. But what impact could such a figure have in our modern world? The potential is staggering. In an era of unprecedented global challenges, from climate change to political upheaval, the emergence of a unifying leader could be transformative. This chosen child, if Bernadette's vision comes to pass, could have the power to bridge divides, inspire collective action, and guide humanity towards a more harmonious future. The anticipation surrounding this prophecy is palpable. People around the world are already speculating about who this chosen child might be. Could it be a young climate activist rallying the world to address environmental crises? Or perhaps a child prodigy in the fields of science or technology, offering innovative solutions to global problems? Some even wonder if this chosen one might possess supernatural abilities, capable of performing miracles that defy explanation. As we draw closer to 2025, the search for signs of this chosen child intensifies. Every exceptional young person who makes headlines is scrutinized, with people wondering, could this be the one Bernadette foresaw? The world watches and waits, hoping for a glimpse of the individual who might hold the key to our collective future. But here's the burning question. Who exactly is this mysterious chosen child mentioned in Bernadette's visions? The truth is, we may not know until the moment arrives. Bernadette's prophecies are cryptic, leaving much open to interpretation. Will we recognize this child when they appear, or could they already be among us, their true identity and purpose yet to be revealed? One thing is certain. The arrival of this chosen child is just one part of a greater transformation Bernadette predicted for our world. As we brace ourselves for the events of 2025, we must consider how this figure fits into the larger picture of global change and spiritual awakening that lies ahead. What role will each of us play in the unfolding of this prophecy? And are we prepared for the challenges and opportunities that await us in the years to come? While we've been searching for signs of the chosen child, something even more extraordinary has been unfolding right under our noses. Bernadette's prophecies hint at a global spiritual awakening that's already begun. But here's the kicker. This isn't just about religion. It's a fundamental shift in how we perceive reality itself. Could the challenges we're facing today be the catalyst for this mind-bending transformation? Believe it or not, Sister Bernadette foresaw a massive shift in human consciousness. Her visions painted a picture of a world on the brink of a spiritual revolution unlike anything we've ever seen. She spoke of a time when people would awaken to new truths, when the veil between the physical and spiritual worlds would grow thin. But what exactly did she mean by this great awakening? According to Bernadette's predictions, this spiritual revolution wouldn't be limited to any one faith or tradition. Instead, she described a global phenomenon that would transcend religious boundaries and touch every corner of society. She saw people turning inward, seeking deeper meaning and connection in their lives. Sound familiar? You might be surprised to learn that we're already seeing signs of this shift all around us. The COVID-19 pandemic has triggered a surge in spiritual seeking. As people grapple with uncertainty and isolation, many are turning to prayer, meditation, and faith as coping mechanisms. It's as if the global crisis has forced us to confront the big questions about life, death, and our place in the universe. Could this be the beginning of the awakening Bernadette foresaw? But it's not just traditional religion that's experiencing a resurgence. There's a growing interest in alternative spiritual practices, with people exploring everything from mindfulness and yoga to energy healing and shamanic rituals. This shift towards non-traditional paths suggests that people are hungry for spiritual experiences that go beyond the confines of organized religion. It's as if we're collectively searching for a more direct personal connection to the divine. Global crises seem to be catalyzing this spiritual awakening. Environmental disasters, political upheavals, and social unrest are shaking the foundations of our world. In the face of these challenges, many are finding that their old ways of thinking no longer suffice. They're searching for new perspectives, new ways of understanding themselves and their place in the cosmos. It's exactly the kind of spiritual rebirth that Bernadette predicted would precede the events of 2025. But here's where it gets really interesting. Experts suggest that we might be on the cusp of a large-scale shift in consciousness. They point to the convergence of environmental crises, political instability, and spiritual transformations as signs that humanity is approaching a tipping point. Could this be the Great Awakening that Bernadette spoke of? Are we witnessing the birth pangs of a new era in human spirituality? The potential scale and impact of this shift are staggering to consider. Imagine a world where spiritual awareness isn't just a personal pursuit, but a global phenomenon shaping every aspect of society. How would our approach to environmental issues change if we collectively recognized the sacredness of nature? How might our political systems evolve if we operated from a place of interconnectedness rather than division? As we hurtle towards 2025, the signs of this spiritual awakening are becoming harder to ignore. From the rise of mindfulness practices in corporate settings to the growing influence of indigenous wisdom in environmental movements, we're seeing glimpses of a more spiritually attuned world emerging. But are these truly the signs of the spiritual awakening Bernadette predicted, or are we just scratching the surface of something much more profound? One thing's for certain, this awakening comes with its own set of challenges. As old paradigms crumble and new ones emerge, we're likely to face periods of confusion and conflict. The road to higher consciousness is rarely smooth, and Bernadette's vision suggests that the coming years will test us in ways we can scarcely imagine. Are we ready for the transformation that lies ahead? And more importantly, will we rise to meet it? As we grapple with the spiritual challenges ahead, an even more pressing threat looms on the horizon. What if I told you that Sister Bernadette's most chilling predictions weren't about our souls, but about the very planet we call home? Brace yourself for a shocking revelation about the state of our environment that's unfolding right before our eyes. You will be shocked by how accurately Bernadette described our current environmental crisis. In her visions, she spoke of a world where the skies burned and the earth trembled. She saw oceans rising, forests disappearing, and creatures vanishing from the face of the planet. At the time, her words seemed like distant nightmares. Today, they read like headlines ripped from the morning news. Let's take a closer look at the current data on climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss. The numbers are staggering, and they align chillingly with Bernadette's predictions. In 2024, environmental experts are warning that we're nearing a critical tipping point in global warming. This isn't just about rising temperatures, it's about the potential for even more severe natural disasters in the coming years. But it gets worse. Recent reports from the United Nations paint a grim picture of our planet's biodiversity. Around 1 million species are at risk of extinction due to human activities, including habitat destruction and climate change. It's as if the creatures Bernadette saw vanishing in her visions are disappearing right before our eyes. The environmental disasters we've witnessed in recent years seem to echo Bernadette's prophecies with terrifying accuracy. Remember her vision of skies ablaze? Look no further than the unprecedented wildfires that have ravaged Australia and California, devastating ecosystems and displacing entire communities. These aren't isolated incidents. They're part of a larger pattern of climate change that's been developing over decades, just as Bernadette foresaw. As we approach 2025, scientific projections for environmental changes become even more alarming. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, warns that we could see an increase in extreme weather events, including more intense hurricanes, droughts, and heat waves. It's as if the planet itself is manifesting the suffering that Bernadette glimpsed in her visions. But here's where it gets really frightening. Experts warn that we may be approaching environmental tipping points, critical thresholds beyond which the damage becomes irreversible. Once we cross these lines, the changes to our planet could accelerate at a pace we're not prepared to handle. Is this the catastrophic future that Bernadette saw in her visions? So, what terrifying environmental changes did Bernadette actually foresee? According to her prophecies, she saw a world where the balance of nature was thrown into chaos. She spoke of rivers running dry, of storms that could level cities, and of a great dying off of plants and animals. But perhaps most chillingly, she warned of a time when the very air we breathe would become poisonous, and the earth itself would rebel against human abuse. As we hurtle toward 2025, the convergence of environmental crises, political uncertainties, and spiritual transformations is impossible to ignore. It's becoming clear that the decisions we make in this pivotal year will determine the path we follow, either towards destruction or renewal. Bernadette's visions serve as a stark reminder of what's at stake. But the state of our planet is closely tied to another aspect of her prophecy. As we grapple with these environmental challenges, Bernadette warns of an even greater crisis looming on the horizon, one that threatens not just our planet, but the very fabric of human society itself. Are we prepared for what comes next? The threads holding our society together are fraying faster than you realize. Bernadette foresaw a world teetering on the edge of chaos, and the signs are all around us. But just how close are we to the breaking point she predicted? Sister Bernadette's visions weren't just about natural disasters and spiritual awakenings. She spoke of a time when the very foundations of society would crumble, leaving humanity scrambling to make sense of a world turned upside down. Her warnings about a potential societal breakdown are chilling in their accuracy, describing a future where trust in institutions would erode and people would turn against each other in fear and anger. Look around you. The global landscape is a powder keg of tension, with multiple crises converging at an alarming rate. Climate change isn't just melting ice caps. It's displacing communities, fueling conflicts over resources, and pushing our economic systems to their limits. Political polarization has reached fever pitch, with nations divided not just between parties, but within families and neighborhoods. Social unrest simmers in cities worldwide as inequality grows and people lose faith in their leaders. Experts warn that these factors are creating a perfect storm of instability. Our global systems, once thought to be unshakable, are showing signs of strain. Economic models that have stood for decades are being questioned as wealth disparities widen and traditional jobs disappear. The rise of artificial intelligence and automation threatens to upend entire industries, leaving millions wondering about their place in this brave new world. But we've faced challenges before, right? True, but history offers sobering examples of how quickly societies can unravel when pushed too far. The fall of the Roman Empire wasn't just about barbarian invasions. It was a complex interplay of economic instability, political corruption, and social unrest that slowly eroded the foundations of a once mighty civilization. The French Revolution erupted after years of mounting tensions, fueled by economic hardship and a ruling class out of touch with its people. Sound familiar? Today, we're seeing alarming parallels to these historical collapses: rising distrust in institutions, ineffective governance, and a growing sense of disconnection between the powerful and the powerless. These are the ingredients for societal breakdown that Bernadette warned about. And with the rapid pace of technological change and global interconnectedness, the potential for cascading failures is greater than ever before. So, how close are we to the tipping point? Some experts believe we are already in the early stages of a major societal shift. Others argue that we still have time to course correct, but the window of opportunity is closing fast. As we approach 2025, there's a growing sense that we're on the brink of a decisive moment. The outcomes of upcoming elections, the response to escalating environmental crises, and our ability to adapt to technological disruptions could all determine whether we slide into chaos or find a new equilibrium. But what exactly did Sister Bernadette say about this potential societal collapse? Her visions paint a stark picture of a world in turmoil, where corrupt leaders will be exposed and people will rise up to demand justice. She spoke of a time when old systems would crumble, making way for something new to emerge from the ashes. It's a prophecy that seems to be unfolding before our eyes, with global protests against authoritarian regimes and corruption becoming increasingly common. As we stand on this precipice, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the challenges ahead, but remember, even in her darkest visions, Bernadette saw a glimmer of hope. Amidst the chaos and uncertainty, she glimpsed the potential for a great transformation. Could it be that this looming crisis is not just an end, but also a beginning? What opportunities for renewal and rebirth might be hidden within the challenges we face? Now, just when you thought Bernadette's predictions couldn't get any more intense, she drops a bombshell that will make your jaw hit the floor. Could the darkest hour of humanity actually be the dawn of a new age? The answer lies in a part of her prophecy that's been hidden in plain sight all along. You might be surprised to learn that Bernadette's vision wasn't all doom and gloom. Amidst the warnings of environmental catastrophe and societal collapse, she spoke of a time of grace, a period of profound spiritual renewal and transformation. It's as if the trials we face are meant to be a crucible, forging a stronger, more compassionate humanity. This time of grace isn't just a silver lining, it's a fundamental part of Bernadette's prophecy. She saw that the very challenges threatening to tear us apart could actually be the catalyst for our greatest evolution. It's a paradox that's hard to wrap our heads around. How can a period of such turmoil also be a time of divine favor? Look closely and you'll see signs of this transformation already emerging from our current crises. The global pandemic, for all its horrors, has sparked a worldwide reassessment of values. People are turning to prayer and meditation in record numbers, seeking meaning and connection in a world turned upside down. It's as if the trials we face are stripping away the superficial, leaving us to grapple with life's most profound questions. But it's not just about individual spiritual growth. Bernadette's vision hints at a collective awakening, a shift in consciousness that could reshape our entire world. We're seeing glimpses of this in the surging interest in environmental preservation and social justice movements. These initiatives aren't just about fixing problems, they're about reimagining our relationship with the planet and each other. The potential for transformative growth on a global scale is staggering. Imagine a world where our response to climate change isn't just about survival, but about creating a more harmonious relationship with nature. Picture a society where the pursuit of justice and equality isn't a struggle, but a shared commitment that unites us all. This is the promise of Bernadette's time of grace, a world reborn through the fires of adversity. As we hurtle toward 2025, the anticipation builds. What exactly will this time of grace look like? Will it be a sudden, miraculous shift or a gradual awakening that unfolds over years? Bernadette's vision suggests that it will be a period of both great challenges and unprecedented opportunities for spiritual growth and societal transformation. So, how close are we to this time of grace Bernadette mentioned? The signs are all around us, hidden in the very crises that threaten to overwhelm us. Every act of compassion in the face of disaster, every moment of unity in a divided world, every breakthrough in our understanding of the universe, these could all be the first stirrings of the great awakening Bernadette foresaw. But here's the thing, Bernadette's prophecy isn't a guarantee. It's a possibility, one that depends on how we respond to the challenges ahead. Will we succumb to fear and division, or will we rise to the occasion, embracing the opportunity for profound transformation? As we approach 2025, one final prediction remains, a revelation so shocking it could change everything we thought we knew about Bernadette's visions. Are you ready to uncover the ultimate truth hidden within her prophecies? As we stand on the precipice of 2025, Sister Bernadette's prophecies loom larger than ever. The world trembles, but there's a glimmer of hope on the horizon. Remember her powerful words, "The world will tremble, but faith will be restored." This isn't just about passive observation, it's a call to action. Now is the time to prepare, not just physically, but spiritually. Engage in community service, deepen your spiritual practices, and foster dialogue with others. These steps can help build resilience and hope as we navigate the uncertainties ahead. As we hurtle towards this prophesied year, one question remains. Will we heed Bernadette's warnings and seize this opportunity for transformation, or will we stumble blindly into the future she foresaw? The choice, it seems, is ours to make.